guys, this is Sean McGarry coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the music salon where great things happen. Hope everyone is doing awesome out there. Got a fun little lesson today, man. We're gonna talk about country style soloing, and really could use this over anything, but use kind of a country vibe today. And let's dive right into it. And I have a full transcriptions of this little solo I played at the intro and a backing track and some additional materials on my Patreon page. So if you haven't done so yet, check the link out below and sign up for that. Okay, now let's dive into it. So we're in the key of C major, and the chords are just it's a 1, 4, 5, C, F, and G. Okay, now basically the idea is to use one idea in one lick to play multiple things, a whole solo. So one of my favorite little things to do, let's talk about this. If I'm in the key of C major, let's start with the most basic up here. And I'm just gonna play some stuff that wasn't necessarily in that little intro I played, but just some ideas, okay? So if I'm in C major, well, you wanna see chord tones with the chord, okay? Now, I always talk about myself on here because it's my channel, but I talk about things that my goal on here is to save you time in the mistakes that I made as a younger player. When I was younger, I just wanted to get from point A to point B as fast as possible, and I didn't give a crap about anything in the middle. So I didn't want to know what intervals were or what the scale degrees were. I just wanted to play the stuff, and if it sounded cool, then yeah, we're on it. I'm going to use my ear, and that's okay. And I had this attitude, oh, you don't need that much theory, man. You just need to be a good player. Well, that was, not necessarily true. Okay, so there's some great players that can. I'm certainly not in that category. So you need to know what you're doing a little bit when you're playing. So when I'm looking at this chord, man, you want to see the most basic things. And this is pretty rudimentary right here. Like when I'm playing this, well, you should know that first note of the chord is your root. Okay, most people do, but if you don't, generally, not always, if you're playing open position chords, your root will be the first note of the chord. That's your major third. So if nothing else, just know the root and the third. Okay, just start with that. Okay, and then you can look at your different scale degrees. Now let's look at that F chord. So like if I'm gonna play a lick, I know that note right there, that A note, second note of the F chord, is the major third. So that's a note you really want to target when it lands on that F chord. Okay, so if we're going right here, when it hits that, and this is what the greats do, man, guys like David Gilmour and whoever, you fill in the blanks, but like the great players will land on those root notes. So if I do a lick, let's see here. When I do that, well, you can hear that chord, even if you don't play the chord, it really implies it. So important to do this, and that's kind of what we're doing here today. We're really thinking about these scale degrees, these tones. So one more time, let's say we're playing C to G, and if I do a riff, and nothing fancy, man, right at the scale. Now watch this. Look. Well, there's the major third of G, my B note, okay? So you can't necessarily see that as clearly, but look, if you do this, there's the major third off here, it's a B. Well, the closest B was right here, so I just played the open string, and you can hear these chords change, so let's check it out again. So C, right, there's the major third of F. There's the major third of G. Now watch this, always resolve back to the 1. Okay, so just stuff like that, really good exercises to kind of just pick through the chords and see what your strong notes are. Now the idea I really used for this little solo today was using the major pentatonic, which sounds great. And you hear that, of course, in every style of music from Motown to country. But a little twist in the road here. So a great idea, if I'm playing C major pentatonic, is to start on the 5. So instead of starting on the root, you start on the 5th degree of the scale. So let me back up even further. So here's a great way to play C major. You hear this a lot. You just put this bass, and you put the 5th, and you can even look at that as like an inversion. Right, that's an E shape right there. I love that. So here's C. You can think of it as a C with a G in the bass, F within the C in the bass. Or look, if I just did this, 2 E shapes. And this is a whole little thing, man. We could stop right here, and this will give you enough to practice for a long time. And I'm going to show you this right now because this is so important. I'm not even touching the solo I did earlier yet. So this little lick right here. Look at this. I'm outlining this this E shape, and I'm from the 5th. It's an E shape, but it's starting on the 5, so you got to know that. I'm going all the way up to that major 3rd of C. So look, you can see these scale degrees just if you just think about it. There's a little riff. Now watch, just drop it down. Well, we have a little problem here because the G, we've run out of space. So I'm going to just use the open strings. Here's the D is the 5 of G, so I'm going to go. So the same kind of thing would be a C here. To the A, so I would go. And then back to C. So all together I would go. C, F, G, back to C. So hopefully you can see that the benefit knowing those little things. It's just finding the melodies, it's finding the target notes, and really, honestly, it's a great ear exercise. So this idea that I was doing for this little solo is I was starting with the 5th. And there's the melody. There's the melody. So now I've got a theme. Do, da, 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 no, na, 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 na. Now when it goes to the F, look, it's right there. Okay, copy and paste over the G. And resolve it to back to C. So that's kind of the main thing. You want to have this little theme and then always resolve it with kind of a separate lick back to the main chord. So all together. Right back to C. Now when I get up here, check this out. So let's see here. You can see the bigger chord shape in the K system. I can't say it here. You can see these bigger chords. There's G right there, but look. Also, I'm thinking of this. I'm thinking of my C chord, right? My C chord and scale. So all this stuff, man, is connected by scales, chords, and arpeggios. There's so much stuff, man, but it's really worth taking the time to dig into this. So when I get up here, I'm going to start from the top one more time. There's my theme. F, G. Now, instead of doing that second round of the G, I'm going to play it by the scale right here. I'm going to do a little lick. Right, resolving on C. So great place to be, man. Okay, second time around, I've got the theme, but you don't want to do it exactly. You want to change it a little bit every time. That's what makes this stuff musical, right? So now, here, the first, remember I did the G, the 5th, to the root. Well, look, let's find the octave of that. So, same thing, up higher. So now we're building a little theme here. I'm going to go. I could go. But I didn't want to do that. So now we're in the key of C major, right? So I'm going to play this little lick. But now I'm thinking A minor pentatonic, which is a relative minor, right? So now. So now you've got this whole box here to kind of call and response to that little riff. Da, 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 da. Do whatever you want, but I think I did something like, oh, sorry. Okay, so again, you're doing that little. Now, okay, this is really cool because we encounter the always tricky B string where everything goes up, and this is where a lot of people fall on their face because they always forget that the B string thinks you have to move up a fret. Okay, so it's easy. You just gotta put that in your brain. So now I can't go like this. It doesn't work. So but I'm seeing this, so I just did my C. Now look how convenient this is. There's my D-shaped F right there, okay? Well, there's the 5. Okay, so I'm gonna go 5th to the root of F right there. Now the first time I will slide up. So up here it was, let's see. So right here it is here. So F here, F here. So 1 octave up, right? Next position. So again, I'm just looking at that D shape and I'm going. Now the second time I'll do a little lick out of that minor pentatonic again. Okay, now nice and convenient. There's our G, the D-shaped G right there. Okay, and then I did a little walk up out of C with 6th. So that whole little last section. Or G, and then there's C, so walk up. Okay, and then finally I did the third little round, and I changed the rhythm up a little bit to kind of give it a different feel. I kind of like it, almost a little funkified country here. So here, I'm going all the way up here, and I'm finding this lick up here. So it's just that G to C, right? G, C, G, C. Just got to find it. It helps you know the fretboard. So now I'm going. Right now it's kind of changing the feel a little bit. So I love that. Next door, same thing. Up here. Right, and then when I got up here again, I'm seeing the A minor pentatonic right here. Look. So when I'm playing around with this, I'm seeing that minor blues box. Okay, and that's a little solo I threw together at the beginning, just using these concepts, right? It's really cool stuff, man. You got to develop a theme. So my theme of the day for this was putting the 5th before the 3rd, and that gave me a whole slew of ideas. And you're going to find so much melody in there when you do that. So I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed this one a lot. I love this kind of style. It's a lot of fun to play and talk about. So thank you so much for watching. If you got something out of this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And please consider hitting the like button and joining the Patreon page. And get, like I said, tabs and backing tracks to all this stuff. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.